Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 86. And I'm joined this evening for the first time in 4 weeks, Brady Cush. Good evening, Brady.
Good evening, Matt. Good to see you in the new studio. Look at all those discs.
It is. This is the new studio. So we've got the disc wall going on. And we've kind of swapped roles because for the last couple of weeks, or the last few months, actually, I've been the one that's been out in the field. This week, you're the one who's out in the field, being as you are on Berrenport, what looks to be hole 8. Is that hole 8?
Correct. It is hole 8 from National, so the Eastern 8, the last one before you come back across the road. Need a little inspiration, headed up to the extreme hills of Tauranga and McLaren Falls this weekend. A little bit of that, getting that practice in, getting that mindset ready. Should be a good weekend.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we've got an absolutely fantastic show today. We're going to be going through some hot scores to begin with. Then we've got our guest, Andrew Popham, joins us on the show tonight. Relatively new to the kind of New Zealand disc golf scene, so we'll be talking to him about the splash that he's made following his win at the Final Meltdown recently. Then we're going to do a quick studio tour for anybody who's interested. We're going to show you around the disc wall and kind of what we've got set up here and various other bits. Also, want to talk about the upcoming MVP Open as well, which is being played this weekend from Maple Hill Disc Golf Course. And I wanted to also show you how I've been playing Maple Hill Disc Golf Course myself recently, albeit in another guise. We'll come to that. We're going to talking about some upcoming events and rankings and picks for the Xtreme this weekend as well. So, so look forward to that. First up, we've got hot scores. So take us through the South, Brady Cush.
Here we go, as ever, starting down in Invercargill, Queen's Park, none other than Disc Golf South, Johnny Ferrari, coming in with a hot round of -13 this week. Up to Dunedin, Chingford Park, Sarah Wadsworth comes in at -4. Good shooting, Sarah. And over at Brockville, Tom McKay shoots a -5 to take out the hot round. Going Lakeside, Wakatipu Basin, and Queenstown Gardens, Russell King shoots the -9 this week for the hot score. And out at Tucker's, Pedro comes in at a -4 on Beachside. Over the Crown Range, Ely Point and Wanaka, Matt Pritchard comes in with a -3 to take out the hot round. And at Lismore Park, a smoking round by Ryan Cambridge, 15 under par for the hot round this week in the hills down there. Up to the Garden City, Jelly Park, we have Jacob Etter coming in at Jelly at -12 this week. Over at Brooker Ave, Jeremy Brockenshire is getting it done with a -6. And Queen's Park Reserve, Jono Scott and Ben Kroll come in at -5. To round out the Garden City, Warren Park, Ashton Clark shoots -8. And in honor of Armageddon coming up in 2 weeks' time, Saxon Field and Nelson rounds out the South Island with Paz Ludlow coming in at 7 under par for the hot round this week. Matt, take us through the North.
Before I do, apologies if there's any shaking just now. It looks like we just had a 5.5 hit Wellington, or at least my house is where we felt it. So that's why we had the little jiggle. So, yes, just had a notification come through. So anyway, starting us off in Berrenport, Keith Furlow hits the hot round with a 5 under par. Congratulations to Keith. Up at Hikoikoi at the reserve on the foreshore, Nick Panu hits a -2. Harcourt Park, it's Brady Cush who hits 3 under par, prepping for the Xtreme this weekend. Up at Linklater, Galal Brizzle hits 6 under par. And at Spa Park, it's a tie between Sean Ashford and George Nicholas, who both hit evens. Across at Merrilands, it's Devon Taylor who hits 1 under par. And the hot round at Tauranga in preparation for the Xtreme, Christian Lovell hits 2 under par. Up at Henderson, Byron Salisbury, new name for us, hits 9 under par on their 20-hole course up there. I think it's the red 10 and the blue 10. So excellent. Two PDGA events over the weekend just gone. The Final Meltdown, which was won by Andrew Popham on a playoff. We'll hear a little bit more about that from him shortly. And Mikey Yu took out the Gathering of the Nocturnals down in Queenstown by 2 shots over Hemitir Fitu and 2 further shots over Ronnie McKay. Roberts Crastins and Morgan Hartfeld round out the top 5. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest. Andrew Popham will be known to many of you who live in Invercargill and Dunedin. He's one of those kind of Invercargill Dunedinites who kind of float between the two. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Hello.
How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Very good, thank you. Now, embarrassingly, we've never met before, so we met for the first time this evening, about 20 minutes ago. So, good evening. But you know Brady. You've met Brady before down at was it the Smash a couple of years ago?
It was this year, I think.
Yeah, Smash this past year.
Yep.
And I actually want to go back a year to the 2021 Smash. Because you played that tournament with a little bit of an injury. So just talk us through. Was that your first kind of major tournament?
I had played the Smash the year before and Lismore, so that was my third.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what happened in the run up to that tournament then?
Yeah. So it was like a month or so beforehand. I had fully ruptured my Achilles, and I was just doing some training and some light bounds, and it just went pop. So, yeah.
Ow. I can't imagine. I haven't done it, and I can't imagine doing it. I can imagine it was incredibly painful. At that point, so you played in a big moon boot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, that year I had quite a big summer planned in terms of disc golf. I was wanting to go to the Fling, Wahitapu, Heislander, and the Smash, but it turned out I just could only go to the Smash.
But now you're a physio. Like, would you recommend playing disc golf in a moon boot to someone?
Well, at the stage I was at, maybe not, but I had a couple caddies. I had my crutches with me. I was managing it well.
Wait, so you were playing in a moon boot on crutches? So you were crutching between each shot?
Yeah, I didn't really need the crutches. I just used it to take the load off my Achilles a bit more.
That's crazy.
What did you finish at that event? Just for reference.
I played MPO that event, so I think it was around like 15 to 20-ish, around there.
Okay, so still in like the top half of the field for playing with an Achilles. But like now you've taken off since, so like arguably the Achilles is better and like you are playing better. Can you kind of walk us through the win on the weekend? Like what were you leaning on besides like your good foot?
Yeah, in the weekend for Final Meltdown, that was I enjoyed that course very much because it was a golf course, which is one of my strengths. I can in terms of like build up, I just had a few practice rounds at Brockville, and yeah, everything's feeling good. My Achilles is feeling really good. It's
So throwing far, is that's a strength of yours? You prefer the kind of open courses to your wooded?
I definitely prefer no trees and long holes. That is my preference.
So Chingford, do you give that a swerve when you're in Dunedin?
I don't play Chingford very often, no.
That's a shame. It's a lovely little course, as you know. But lots of trees. And so what do you actually, we won't go through what's in your bag because I've got a feeling that some of that might come out in Desert Island Disc Golf a bit later. But how did you start playing disc golf? Was it, did you know people who played, or did you see people playing it? How did you get into the game?
Yeah, so it was pretty much just like a group of friends, Andrew and Caleb and a couple others, Ethan, just like, oh, come along, we'll throw some frisbees around. They were already playing at that stage. I just joined along and fell in love with the sport. It was like it's a very, very addicting sport.
Absolutely. And then you build your bag from there. And so what do you go for when you're looking about building your bag, especially for playing to your strengths? What are you looking for?
I prefer more stable discs that can hold a decent amount of torque, so it can fly straighter. And I definitely have a little theme going on in my bag. It's if anyone's ever played with me, everything in my bag is bright orange. So
All right.
The reason
Excellent.
behind that is
you've frozen right at the moment. Were you about to reveal as well? What?
I know, the cliffhanger. Everything is bright orange, and everyone in the front room is now watching the show. Come back,
Brady.
Andrew.
You've got a completely same color bag. Is that the? Is he back? No.
Oh, he's
we're back.
back.
Excellent. We're back. So why have you got an all orange bag then? What's the story there?
Yes. Sorry. When I started off, I wasn't that good, so I decided, what's the color that is hardest to lose? So I chose bright orange because when it's in a tree, when it's in the grass, you'll find it.
Absolutely.
And have you found all of your discs, or are there some still out there lost waiting to come home?
Oh, I don't really like to talk about that. There are a few. There's a handful out there that haven't come back.
And what's the most? What do you lose the most?
It really depends on how stupid I'm feeling at the time and whether or not I'm throwing 360s towards big bushes or not.
So have you got any discs that you're kind of sat on going, it would make my bag, but it's not bright orange. So yeah, is there any that you kind of like? Right, just the one?
Yeah, this guy here, Ricky Wysocki Destroyer. It's a bit yellow. You can kind of see.
Yeah, that's orangey.
It said orange when I bought it, and it came through with this quite yellowy.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little bit displeased, but I still throw it.
Notice how the yellow disc you haven't lost yet. Just pointing that
out. Your kind of rise in the disc golf rankings has been fairly steep of late. You came second at Icebreaker, I think it was, and then obviously winning today. The win today, as you'll see a bit later on, is enough to get you into the top 20 players in the country right now. So congratulations. How much more have you got? Because you're 960 at the moment. Got a couple of good rounds to put on from the weekend just gone as well. And being as you played relatively few rounds, that will affect your rating perhaps more than otherwise it would. What's the kind of, how much more have we got?
Well, it all depends on how much non-wooded courses I play. But in terms of my game, my putting is one of the weak points, the biggest weak points. If I learn how to putt at least 20% of what Levi Stout can putt, I'll be improving a bit.
Good stuff. And well, it's what, like they say, drive for show, putt for dough, I think is the thing. And putting is one of those things I think everybody can do it. But the thing is that strikes me is that with putting is that it's really about practice, about repetition. It's about putting time in your backyard or out on the course, just practicing. You're quite a busy man, eh? Because you're going into your final year of university. Is that right?
Yep. So next year is my 4th year of physio, and I'll be in Christchurch, pretty much working full time.
Wow. So you're good, but that's great because Christchurch is a fantastic place to play disc golf, though, right? So that's good. What's your aspiration in terms of a job? Do you want to become a physio that works in a gym, or would you go have your own practice, or maybe work with a sports team? What's your kind of desire after you graduate?
Yeah, so there's actually lots of routes that a physio can take. A lot that I didn't know until I started doing physio, like being in the hospital, in the community.
Mm.
But from the get-go, I've always wanted to do something to do with sports, something to do with musculoskeletal injuries, and I think that's still the direction that I'm heading now.
Fantastic. I think that's it's certainly something which I'd love to see that more at New Zealand disc golf tournaments. I know that there's they've got them in a lot of the ones in the States, but I'd love to see like a on-site physio. I remember at an ultimate tournament I played, they had a physio available if you wanted to get tension in your legs massaged out or whatever, that they were there available to do that. So yeah,
I was gonna say, and what from your studies have you brought over that's made you a better disc golfer?
I don't know, not much, to be honest, because I'm still in training, but just learning about different injuries. I've had a few injuries myself, so that's definitely been put into practice a wee bit.
And any tips for any recovery tips for people at the end of a long day, maybe playing two rounds, maybe your legs are and your arms are a little bit more tired because they're 40 years old and you're getting a little bit long in the tooth, and you need a bit of a help in order to get you through the next day. Any tips on exercises or stretches or whatever that you'd recommend?
I think the main thing is just the basics, what everyone already knows: sleep well, eat well. But in terms of being sore, maybe a bit of loading up towards the events, maybe getting, instead of shocking the body with 2 big rounds, maybe work up to it more, and it might help. But stretches, you've always got your safe stretches you could do with your calves and your hammies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Because we've also got the we're starting to organise the Wellington Centurion, the OG Centurion, which is obviously playing 101 holes in a day. So having a physio recommend some exercises to do, perhaps even in the car in between rounds, could be quite useful. Certainly on that day, we had some stragglers at the end of that marathon.
Well, Matt, I hear a moon boot, crutches, and a caddy help quite a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll need to look into the Western Centurion.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Look, so what's your plan in terms of immediate tournaments coming up? There's the big 3 that are happening next year in February and March, the majors. You're going to be working a lot, so do you reckon you'll get to many?
Yeah, so I don't think I would be able to play the likes of Smash and Highlander again, which I'd really love to play, just because of placement. But because I'll be in Christchurch, I might as well be playing the Christchurch tournaments. So I'm hoping to be able to play all of them.
Excellent. And at the very least, turn up to see Simon Lazare, because if you're someone who likes to throw far, there's someone who also likes to throw far. So yeah, fantastic. Right. Okay, we're going to move on to Desert Island Disc Golf. So this part of the show, the premise of this part of the show, if you're unfamiliar, is that Andrew is stranded on a desert island. There is a disc golf course on this desert island, fortunately. And he's been stranded with 3 of his favorite discs and 3 of his favorite card mates. So take us through your discs first up, Andrew. What are you throwing and why?
Okay, so we'll start off with my OG. This is my first ever disc, Champion T-Bird. It's so 3 years old, probably, beaten into perfection. It flips up very nicely. I can smash it on hyzer and let it glide, or I can throw it flat and have it turn right. So that's definitely one I'd have to take. Next, I would have to bring a putter, and I have this wee Charmander AVR3. This one is also quite old in my bag. I've had for quite a few years, and is also beaten to perfection, and it glides very straight all the time, and it's very good. So yeah, have to bring this one. And my last words, it's a definite toss-up between a couple discs, but I think I'll have to choose the Ballista Pro.
Very good.
Simply because it flies awfully far.
It certainly does. It certainly does. It's quite meaty though, so you got to put some oomph behind it. But yeah, if you mentioned that you've got the arm for it, then yeah, it'll certainly go quick. Excellent. Right now, who are you taking with you? So your card mates can be real or fake. They can be seasoned pros or people you know. There we go. Who are you picking?
First person I'll pick is the all-time greatest player on the Pro Tour, Anthony Barella, just because he's a crusher boy. He's probably going to win Worlds at least once, maybe.
Okay.
Anthony Barella. Next person I'll pick is Double G. Get some more big bombers in there. Mainly also because of his Double G craft jerky. Definitely.
I was going to say he's going to bring plenty of that along. So
he's got to bring heaps of that. Last player is one of my mates from home, Norman Tudor, simply because he'll help me out mentally, he'll make me look good in the course, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, what a burn.
Love you, brother. Love you, Norm.
Thanks, Norm. Thanks, Norm.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, so 3 big throwers and Norman Tudor joining you on the on your desert island. Absolutely fantastic. Right. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the quick fire round. The quick fire round is family friendly front 9, where you get the same 9 questions for everybody every week, and then you've got Safari back 9. Takes the form of a this or that, and it's different for everybody each week. So here we go. Andrew, what's your name?
Andrew Popham.
Where were you born?
I was born in Tiano.
Where do you live now?
I currently live in Dunedin.
What's your PDGA number?
149619.
How many years have you been playing?
I think it's 3 now.
Your favorite disc?
The OG Champion T-Bird.
Your favorite course?
Probably have to be the Tiano course.
Your favorite MPO player?
Anthony Barella.
Your favorite FPO player?
Kristen Tatar.
Lovely stuff. Excellent. Brady, take us through the back 9.
Let's start with hockey or disc golf.
I have to say disc golf. It's a bit more therapeutic.
Yeah.
Leg day or chest day?
Definitely chest day. Always skipping legs.
Practice putting or practice push-ups?
Practice push-ups a lot more.
Simon Lizotte or Eagle McMahon?
Simon. Definitely Simon.
Levi or Ethan?
Levi, probably. Sorry, Ethan.
Invercargill or Dunedin?
Invers all the way.
Green Mountain Championship or MVP Open?
MVP.
Ooh. 1,000 rated round or win the tournament?
1,000 rated round because I haven't got one of those yet.
And in the playoff, do you run it or do you lay it up?
Depends on the situation, but I'm very much known for laying it up.
There you go. There you have it. There's your back 9. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. It's been good fun. Look, I really hope that personally I get to meet you in person one day, and also that we see you at many events. Obviously, coming up in that kind of tranche of Dunedin's Invercargill very good players who are going to be hitting peak in a few years' time, and would really love to see how you progress there. So very best of luck, both for the rest of your studies, which I think are beginning again very soon, and you've got some placements coming up. So best of luck for that, and also in your upcoming tournaments as well.
Thanks very much for having me.
Good to meet you.
Andrew. See you on the course soon, man.
Cheers.
Definitely. Thank you.
There we go. So yeah, I mean, look, Andrew's one of those players who is in that kind of, and I mentioned just at the end, that kind of, there's a tranche of players in Dunedin / Invercargill who are all in that kind of early 20s. And they're all kind of coming up together, playing every week, in Andrew's case, living with several of them. And it's going to be great. In like a few years' time, that's going to be a serious kind of force to be reckoned with, right? When like the when the practice really has bedded in, the mental game improves, physically they reach peak. I mean, that's going to be really one to look out for.
I was going to say, like, I'm already looking out from now, like seeing Andrew come through, and Andrew played really well and won the like AM Tour last year. So Andrew Fleming, that is the roommate of Andrew Popham, who just did well in the Dunedin series. So yeah, there's a lot in that kind of like MA1 cusp who's coming up. And so, yeah, it's really fun to see. Yeah, you have the Dunedin Invercargill boys. Same with like the Winnow boys up in Auckland. They're all that kind of young, late teens, early 20s, like prime of their kind of like physicality and that kind of stuff. And so now that they got a few years under their belt, Andrew talks about it. He's got all the arm in the world, but he just needs to work on that putting,
Yeah, right.
So so arguably with a little bit of experience, all these young bucks coming in, there's going to be some really good rivalries going forward over the next, say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Totally. Right. Now, moving on. Now, you won't have failed to notice that we, or rather I, have moved into a new studio. So I'm going to give you a quick tour. It won't take very long because it's not very big. But we're going to, if I can grab this, I'm not sure how stable this is going to be. Here we go. So yeah, we've got the disc wall going on.
This is not an earthquake, everyone. This is just Matt trying his camera skills.
Correct. This is not an earthquake. So they've got the disc going on. There is a theme to it. If you can kind of guess what they might be in terms of the layout of the discs, then put it in the comments below. Anybody who's a member of the sort of disc golf collecting community will recognize some of these. And then over here in the corner, we've got some of the Sweet Chain storage merchandise and stuff. And then, well, that's about it really. And then I've got my desk set up, which is sort of behind the camera. So, which I won't show you because it's very messy. But left a space up in the corner there. I'm still looking for the White Tiger Sapphire that completes that top row of animal prints, which I'm still on the lookout for. I'm aware of one that exists in the States, but the person who owns it isn't willing to sell it quite yet. So we'll have to see. Just want to also, at this point, draw your attention to the minty coloured discs over here, the yarn and the spey. And that's important for a reason I'm going to come on to now. I don't know if anyone else has been following this, but I wanted to just bring this up. There's been someone has auctioned or put onto an auction site. It's currently live, so it's currently in progress. So go and bid on it if you want.
Is this that bird?
This disc here, right?
One.
Now, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger so it's a bit easier to see. Now, this has been auctioned. It's a mint condition mint Berg, right? First run, 9.5 collector kept. Reading down through some of the comments, they anticipate that there's probably in this condition about 5 of these left in the world, because the Berg it's a very kind of iconic disc in the Castoplast range. But when it was released, a lot of people probably just threw them, and then their value kind of comes off. But this disc currently, and the auction is still live, the top bid so far is, I can get pause to all the means, $2,850. $2,850. That's in today's money, that's about nearly $5,000. Best part of 5,000 New Zealand dollars for a mint 9.5 rated Castoplast K2 Berg. I've got a K2 Berg sat up on the wall there, just next to those. It's a misprint and it's not a first run, so it's worth significantly less. But I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Sexton who? It's got to be the question, isn't it? I mean, we've seen Firebirds go for that kind of price, and they're arguably one of the most sort of collectible discs out there.
So what price tag do you put on that last disc in the corner then?
Which one? This one? The one that I'm missing?
Yeah, the Gap, the Tiger Sapphire. What would you be willing to pay for it?
So, right. I know the numbers here because I know what was made for the rest of the round. There were 25 of each of these discs made. 25.
Full stop.
Full stop. 25. That's it. You can only get, there's only 25, and I've got one of each of the rest of them up there. So if I don't know, I really don't know the price, but I'd really be keen to discuss with somebody what, So if you know any of the 25 people in the world who might have that disc, I'm aware of one. And I message them every 6 months and say, hey, do you want to sell it? And they said no so far. But I'll find the other 24, or at least some of them someday. We'll have to discuss things. But for now, I've left the Gap there for anything, for any. If I can.
And that's a really interesting question. So I've always been one of those that I buy discs to throw discs. And so 99% of the discs that I own in the 300, thanks to moving, I now know how many I have, are thrown. So, their value goes down. But, arguably my most valuable disc, can't be bought, if that makes sense. Andrew talked about it with his, that Champ OG T-Bird of his is beat into perfection. So for you, being a collector and a thrower of discs, what for you is your most valuable disc in your collection? Is it one you throw or one that's on the wall? Let's start there.
I think it's kind of different in terms of how you define value, because do you mean value to me, or do you mean value as in if I was to sell it, the one I'd get the most money for?
No, I mean value to you, specifically
value
to
you. Me. Okay. Yep. Okay, value to me. It's a really tough one, eh? It's a really tough one.
Well, I'll even throw you a curveball. Arguably for me, one of my most valuable disc golf disc is a mini.
Oh, yeah.
So when I first started playing with my crew of friends back in the States, and I made my first pilgrimage to Maple Hill into Marshall Street, arguably one of the big distributors on the East Coast, I bought a mini. It's that same mini that I've been using for 10 years. It's a little Discraft mini with a bunch of little multicolored baskets on it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I've been using that same mini for 10 years. Every tournament I have ever played in, bar one, I've used that mini for. So for me, that would be my most valuable disc golf disc.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I can't give you a story that's as sort of potted as that, I have to say. No, to be honest, the discs that I've got up on the wall, there's a couple that I'm kind of particularly, that I particularly like. I like a lot of the Paige Pierce ones, obviously, because I follow a lot of what she does. And I've got one signed Paige Pierce one. So that's pretty cool. I've got a couple of prototype Latitude stuff. So I've got a prototype Ballista Pro. I've got two of them, actually. One's up on the wall.
Don't tell Andrew.
I've got a prototype Gatekeeper. And and a few other ones that are quite nice. I quite like some of the discs that don't have any kind of monetary value if I was selling them, but I just like the look of them. So the river in the top left corner that's just there above the Thunderbird, that's quite cool. I like the Get Freaky because I just think it's cool. So there's discs like that, but I don't have anything that I'm like, this is my baby kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe in time. Maybe when I've played a bit more for a bit longer, then that would think the case.
I was going to say, give that trust a couple years. I think that's going to kind of settle into that space.
That is probably the one disc that if I lost it, and I did once, I did lose it in some bushes. I found it again, but and at that point, my heart sunk because it was like 2 weeks before a tournament, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." I really didn't want to have to get used to another one, and I don't know. Yeah, probably that trust more than anything else. I got my only ace with it, and it comes out on every course. But anyway, I did want to mention that all of those discs are hung up on the wall with these little guys here, right? So I am using to hang my discs these disc hangers, which are available from Duck Designs down in Dunedin. Right, so if you want to get involved and get some of these, I'll pop the email address up on the screen so that you can.
Can you pop it in the comments?
Sorry,
pop it in the comments.
I'll pop it in the comments, shall I? Let me just grab the email address. I've got it saved here, and they're absolutely fantastic. So I messaged them initially a few months ago to say, "Hey, look, can you get me some?" And they were like, "Oh, yeah, nah, all good." And then I messaged them more recently and said, "Actually, I need them now." And within a few days, they were here. So you want to you want to email these guys here, designs@duckles.nz.
Duckles, nice. That's a great email address.
It's Nina Duckles, who many people in Dunedin will know. She was the tournament director for one of the events in the Dunedin series, and you want to speak to. It's actually, I think it's her. Is it her sons or her nephews who do it? But I'm going to shout out. It's Ezra and Micah, aged 13 and 15, who produce these. So if you're keen to support local New Zealand young entrepreneurs producing great disc golf stuff, then get in touch with these guys and get yourself some of these to make your disc wall look cool. And they stick on with these, the little sticker things, so they don't ruin your wall. You just peel them off, and there you go. So if you're in a rented place or whatever, and you don't want to wreck the walls, you don't have to. So I'd say get yourself some of these. $75 for 50. They were very reasonable, I thought. And if you played Heislander last year, you actually got one free in your players pack, which is where I heard of them. So hit them up. Because they're really cool. Right, MVP Open this weekend, Brady. MVP Open.
The final playoff for the first year of the Disc Golf Pro Tour playoffs.
It is. We're going to talk a little bit about the tournament itself coming up this weekend. I think it's always a great tournament, and all the pros love the course. You've played there.
Yep. Played there twice.
What have you? Can you talk us through how you feel it's different to other courses that you've played at before? Why is it so special?
Well, one, it changes every year. So the course itself was built on a Christmas tree farm, and so those Christmas trees are constantly growing. So fairways and landing zones are always changing. So trees might be short one year, they'll be a little longer next year. They're always changing the course. One of the great things about it, and it's very similar to Fox Run and Brewster Ridge up in Vermont, so that there are multiple tees. And so the idea of there are 4 different layouts. So there's now the diamond one, which the FPO play. There's also a white, blue, and a gold. The gold is what the men will play, that they're constantly changing. They're moving baskets back. They're moving tee pads back. And so it's one of those that Andrew Popham would hate it. Because you need all the distance in the world. but you need control. So the idea of like in Barrenpore, you are throwing uphill. The elevation gains up and down are huge, but you have to hit tight gaps that might be a meter on some holes. They could be 2, 4, 5 meters on other holes. But it's not like you just have to hit a gap and then it's fine. The idea that you have to hit a gap, then carry 120 meters and hit another gap at a certain angle so that it lands and doesn't skip down the hill, or it skips towards the basket, or lands soft and doesn't. There's lots of drop-offs and like death putts and that kind of stuff. So it really challenges every aspect of your game, both in control, in distance, and in putting. And so the idea of, similar to the combination of Brewster Ridge and Fox Run, like Maple Hill is kind of both of those courses in one. And so that's kind of why everybody loves it. And then add to that, like there's the cool, like hole 8, the 8-holers. So you have like a great community in behind the course who's like out supporting the pros as they play. But there's also all of those water carries that just add that little bit extra like risk involved, you know, of are you going to take your favorite mid-range? Are you going to take your favorite driver? Because it might not be coming back, at least that weekend. To be fair, the photos when they go swimming after the event, just rainbows of discs that they find in the pond. It's just crazy. But you've been playing yourself, haven't you?
So I have. I've played Maple Hill a few times in the last week, and of course, if you haven't already guessed, I am referring to birdie disc golf. Now, I'm interested to know actually. Put hashtag birdie in the comments if you own a copy of this board game, right? I have to say, I kind of unwrapped it, if you like, about 2 weeks ago, maybe. So I've played it a few times. There's the back, so you get kind of an idea of what's going on. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I've only really played it with between 2 and 3 players. So some of the scores that you can get with just 2 of you, I think something like we played Lake Eureka the other week. And Lingham, my fiance, she shot 17 under par at Lake Eureka in the game, and so you can get some incredible scores with 6 players, which is the most you play with at a time. It's incredibly interesting and tactical, and so I'm really looking forward to the tournaments next year. I'm going to be bringing birdie disc golf along with me to Invercargill, so we can have a game in the down times of the evenings over a few light ales, and it should be a lot of fun. It's absolutely great fun with 2 or 3 people, let alone with 6 of you. An absolute blast. So put a comment. I'd be really interested to know actually if you've got a copy of this. The course that comes with the game is Maple Hill. So this is, I'm going to show you what's going on here. This is the board that you play on. This is going to look a bit unwieldy, but we'll do our best. So all unfolds, and anyway. You get the idea. I'm going to put this away now. My work is what I wanted. So it's dice based, but incredibly tactical. Bray, National Birdie Disc Golf Championships. That's exactly what I was thinking, right? So who else has got a copy of this game? Because obviously I can run one in Wellington, and Wellington kind of qualifying tournament. If we've got others around the country, you can see what's going on. And at Nationals, you can cheer on it. Yeah.
With you being like a first-time TD, I wonder if Bray would sanction that as a 40-point event.
Oh, quite possibly. Yeah.
You know, just put it on the tour. You know, like come to Wellington the weekend of X whatever. You know, 40 points. You know, NZDG. Let's go.
Yeah, you play. I've also got the. I've got the bonus courses which give you Ledgestone and the Java Disc Golf Park. So you get Lake Eureka and Java Park in the expansion set. So yeah. So look forward to that. If you do have a copy of the game, let me know. I'd be really, really keen to hear about it. And you never know. We might sort something out. Anyway, right. I
was going to say, speaking of events, what do we got coming up? Have you updated your...
Yes, I have. Of course. Let me grab it. So we've got it here. It's that one, and then this one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Mo. There we go. Right. We put it on the screen. Chuck that on the screen now. So we've got a few tournaments coming up. This weekend, we have no less than 4 tournaments coming up. We have the Tauranga Xtreme. Brady, you're going up for that. We're going to do. I'm going to go through my picks in a second. You've got the Make It Mafaro in Christchurch, so that should be good fun. That's Eilish Kumak who's running that with Throw Pink, and yeah, I know a few people from Wellington going down. So best of luck to everybody playing there. You got the Trilogy Challenge down in Invercargill. Always a good event. You get some great discs in your pack as well. So that's going to be good fun. And Brady Marston's put on Frizzy for Lizzie on Sunday at Invercargill as well. Then we've got Armageddon. It's sold out. Topor sold out. Moonbase is the weekend afterwards in mid-October. I think the next 6 weeks is back to back to back. So we're going to see lots of action happening. And we got notification actually about 2 minutes before we went live of a mystery tournament that is being run in Christchurch, courtesy of seasoned TD Dave Rose on the 9th to the 11th of December. So save the date there in Christchurch for that.
I was going to say, is Fling coming back for a summer date?
Well, who knows? We shall find out. Waitapu is marked as sold out, but there are 2 spots available. So hit up Morgan Hartfeld if you'd like to be involved there. And the 4th of December is Te Anau. So maybe Andrew can get back to his hometown to play and fight that out.
I was going to say, speaking of Xtreme this weekend, who you got picked, Matt?
Well, look, it's a really interesting one actually for the Xtreme. We'll get on to I just want to go back to the rankings first.
Oh, we're going to do power rankings first. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go through my picks in a second. So the South Island Champs Garden City Open on the 3rd to the 5th of February. So the registration for that opens on the 5th of October. That's in a couple of weeks' time. And then we've got Nationals at the Smash. That's sold out. So get yourself on the wait list if you aren't already playing it. To be fair, it does look like the whole of New Zealand Disc Golf is already playing in that event. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. It's literally a who's who of New Zealand Disc Golf is going to be there. So if you're not in that list, then get yourself down there. And then North Island Champs at the Topol Classic. So I registered for this event today, Brady, and I believe you did as well.
I have also, yes. Got in there, got in quick. It's going to be another PDGA A-tier event, so there should be a lot of money and prizes going around.
Absolutely. And yeah, looking forward to that. Didn't play last 2 years, so I'm very looking forward to playing Topor. I played Spa Park course when it was just an object course before the permanent one got put in. And Topor's a lovely place anyway, so I'm looking forward to getting up there. Right. Looking at the rankings then for the power rankings. No changes in the FPO field, but we've got some movement in the MPO. Andrew Popham joins us in the top 20, new in at 18. Tom McKay moves up 2 places, Dom Hayden 1, and Mark Dakiv moves up 1 as well. Going to be really interesting this weekend. You've got Jay Watkinson and Jackson Sullivan both playing this weekend, and Simon Feasy. So 3 of the top 4 players in the country currently going to be playing. Let's just get the rest of the lineup on the screen so that you can be making your picks at home. It's this one here. So Simon Feasy and Jay Watkinson. Jackson Sullivan is not playing, I should say. So that brings us to, well, let's get it up on the screen. You've got 2 of the top 4. And we've also got Joseph Berry coming up from Christchurch, which is great to see. He's currently ranked 6th. Mark Dakiv is currently ranked 14th. And Vincent Wilson has been is hovering just outside the top 20. He often performs well at tournaments like this. And then you've got a few players from Wellington. Good luck to yourself, Brady, Chris, and Francis. I think it's going to be between those top two, if I'm honest. Conor McKinstry, I think, can knock on the door. It will be interesting to see if, because I've never played Tauranga, but I understand that the course can be quite treacherous, requires you to take some particular lines. It'll be interesting. If he can maintain the control, then he's got a good putt and a good arm. So there's every chance that he can get himself onto the podium. Joseph Berry has been playing fantastic of late, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does well. Also, looking down the field in the MP40 division, I think it's Hemi and Mike Foley plays well these kind of tournaments as well, so wouldn't be surprised if he does okay. And Stephen Brown Hawke is my pick for the MA1 division. Although Josh Love,
Josh Love Parada, man, he's been on a heater as of late.
He has been on a heater, and 961 playing MA1. So yeah, let's see if he can take that form into the weekend. In the ladies division, I think it's probably between Paula and Victoria. We'll see how that plays out. And in the amateur masters, I'm always looking at this division now because I'm soon to be playing in it. Sean Ashford has put some good scores together in our hot scores. He seems to come up most weeks, so I'm going to pick him for MA40. Right. So I think that more or less rounds out the show for today.
I just noticed there's going to be 138 people in Tauranga this weekend.
There will be 138 people in Tauranga. That's correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And go on.
Oh, well, I remember Nationals there a few years ago. I don't even think there was more than, say, 80. It might have sold out in the 60s or something, or maybe 72. And that's when there's that good contingent of Aussie came over. Patty Robinson won the beat Simon coming down the stretch. That was an epic battle. But yeah, just the numbers, Xtreme is a rugged course. And depending on how the weather goes, if it's going to be wet this weekend, which Saturday arguably is looking like it's going to be, it's definitely going to be a very interesting course for that many people.
What's interesting for me is that 138 people, 10% of those are playing an MPO. Right. So
notes?
But we've been seeing it all year, right? We've got MA2 34, MA3 20. They are the big divisions. I think MA1's probably got a fair chunk in it as well. But it's all about these amateur divisions. Also, just a quick note on PDGA numbers. I didn't realize we kind of got this far. That's the highest PDGA number I've seen, 231,607. That is nearly 100,000 more than me. And I've got, so I'm 131640, and I joined in 2020, March of 2020, right? So 131,000 people joined the PDGA from I don't know, whatever it was, the early 70s up to 2020. And then 100,000 people have joined in the 2.5 years since then. Absolutely crazy, but absolutely fantastic to see also. But wherever you're playing disc golf this weekend, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week.